My life has been ruined by a stupid phone call. Entirely life was shattered. I assumed she was talking to her sister or maybe one of her friends, but unfortunately, I am 38 male, just found out my 36 years old girlfriend of 5 years relationship cheated on me. And I found out in the worst way. Just some background info on me. I've never been married, nor do I have any kids. It's not that I don't want either. Life just hasn't had those plans for me yet, I guess. Anyway, to the story. Friday after work, I left to go on a weekend trip with the guys to one of my buddies' cabins on the lake. Nothing too crazy. Fishing, drinking, games. Just good old fun. Usually, we do these trips about every 3 months to get time to ourselves and give our SOs a break from us rolling on the floor laughing. I usually stay through the entire weekend and just leave from there, go to work on Monday morning. However, this weekend I left my laptop in the office room and forgot to grab it. So around 4 p.m., I started to head home. Figured I'd be there by 6 and let's called her Rachel wouldn't have ate by then. So I called in an order at our favorite Italian place, stopped and picked it up and headed to the house. I walked in and everything seemed normal. I could hear Rachel laughing in the kitchen, so I figured I'd just walk in and surprise her. As I got closer, I started to overhear the conversation she was having on the phone, and in an instant my life was shattered. I assumed she was talking to her sister or maybe one of her friends. But the conversation basically went like this. Last night was just amazing. He was such a considerate lover. Pause. I'm telling you, I've never had anything like it. Pause. We met on Tinder and he took me out last night. By the time we made it through the door, we barely made it to the sofa. Pause. Oh God, big. Like twice as big as, inserts my name. Pause. I'll definitely be taking him for a test drive again. After that line I just dropped the food on the floor. Rachel heard it, and turned around. By that time I already had tears welling up in my eyes. She hung up the phone and tried to get to me, but I just pushed her off, went up to the office, grabbed my laptop and left. Rachel has been hysterically texting and calling the past 4 days and I haven't answered one. I'm staying at a hotel a couple towns over, so I doubt she will be able to find me. My buddies and mom have called as Rachel has frantically been trying to locate me. But I've assured everyone I'm okay and there is nothing to worry about. My life has been ruined by a stupid phone call. I really thought this was the girl I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I'm an only child and my mom keeps reminding me she wants grandkids. I had planned on proposing this year on the 4th of July, as it would be our 6-year anniversary. I've already got the ring and my buddy and his wife already know about the plan, as they are the ones who set us up and hosted the 4th cookouts. This is the first time I've dealt with infidelity in any relationship. I'm really just broken at the point. Do I contact Rachel? Should I hear her out? After that phone call, the thought of her just makes me sick to my stomach. I have had a very stressful week, and while I did not feel up to replying to anyone's posts, last Friday night, after my buddies got to the hotel, I explained what I had heard on the phone call. All 3 of them were stunned to say the least. They asked if I had saw any signs of this. I really hadn't. I said I didn't know what I was going to do. I informed my one buddy that the proposal was off, and given the circumstances, he completely understood. One thing I had my buddies do when they left their houses is turn off tracking, in case their significant others were checking and getting back to Rachel. I know Rachel isn't close with one of the wives, but at this point, I didn't want to take any chances. That night, we spent the night at the hotel bar and I tailspun pretty hard. Shot after shot after shot. It wasn't pretty. My buddies were getting calls all night from the SOs asking where they were, and to their credit, they stood their ground and backed me up, just saying that we were safe and not to worry. One asked to speak with me after assuming that where they were, but I didn't want to talk to her. She kept saying Rachel is worried and just wants me to come home. I just told my buddy to deal with it, and I'll fill them in another time. I spent most of the night hitting on the bartender, which I'm not proud of, and a couple of girls who were traveling for work. The next day, I thanked them all for spending time with me and they took us back home. This week, I had one of my buddies scope out the house we were renting as it was on his way to work, and he gets to work after Rachel and I would have already left for the day. Rachel had taken Monday and Tuesday off, but went back to work on Wednesday. As soon as he informed of this, I went to the house and started packing as much stuff as I could. The house was a mess. Dishes in the sink, clothes laying everywhere, trash was full of takeout and ordered food. It took me about 4 hours to get all my crap out. Before I left, I cleaned up for Rachel as a final gesture. That afternoon and evening, I got flooded by Rachel with calls and texts after she realized that I had come home and gotten all of my things. So, for now, I'm now staying at my mother's house until I can find a place of my own this fall. I spoke with the landlord, and without Rachel's signature, he won't remove me from the lease, meaning I will have to cover my half of it until October. My mom has said I can stay with her until then, at which point I will try to find a new place. I know, a 38-year-old moving back in with his mother. How amazing life has treated me. I finally contacted Rachel on Thursday, and told her we could meet up at a local bar and grill downtown Friday evening. I told her one of my buddies would be attending to make sure everything was on the up and up. She complained for a few minutes, saying she wanted me to come home and talk with her so we could move past this, but I told her if she wanted to see me, this was how it was going to be. Eventually she agreed. So Friday night, Rachel shows up after my buddy and I had been there for about an hour. I had already ate and took a couple shots of Ciroc to calm me. We sat down and she wanted to make small talk, asking about me. I cut that garbage off. I told her I had a list of questions. Immediately, her eyes welled up. I asked her how long has this been going on. She swore this was the first and only time. I told her to cut off the shit. I said there was no change we were ever getting back together, so just tell me the truth, so I can have my closure and move on with my life. She stuck to her guns for a few minutes, but then, as most of you predicted, she came clean. Every time I went on those trips for the past 2 years, she thought I was going to cheat on her, so she was having her fun too. This set me off. I told her she was using this as a fun excuse just to sleep around. I then asked who she was talking on the phone with, but she refused to give me an answer for this. I asked if they use condoms, and she said sometimes. I said she's lucky I got an STD test, because I'm clean, so she doesn't have to worry about getting one, unless her most recent horse didn't use one. Finally, before I left, I told her about my plans. July 4th proposal, I showed her the ring, and told her that I was going to propose at our friend's party, because that was where they introduced us. It was around here that she just started crying. She begged for another chance. I told her that I will always love her, but we are over. So yeah, she has been messaging me all day, but I'm going to block her very soon. So I'm just sitting here eating some B-dubs and drinking beer while watching the fights. Hopefully, Poirier wins, but I'm doubting it. My life is a train wreck. Anyway, thanks guys for watching and listening my story. I don't know if I'll update again, as I doubt I will ever talk to that. See you next time again as soon as possible.